during hurricane relief funds for Plaquemines Parish, and is the voice of frustration after the BP oil spill. As a result of his hard work and dedication during those troubling times, he's been coined the hardest working man in Louisiana by the national media. He truly is a man for all of Louisiana. Ladies and gentlemen, here is your Lieutenant Governor, Billy Nungesser.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank God for having me here today. I'm excited to be here with all the great leaders. And I understand some of you will be running for office. And whoever is elected Lieutenant Governor, please do not run against me this year. But I wish you well in all of your endeavors. I thought this morning I would tell you a little bit about how I got my start in politics and how I got there, and then tell you a little bit about the tourism industry. By the way, Lieutenant Governor is the best job in the world. Promoting the great state of Louisiana, the food, the music, it's easy. People love Louisiana, and the people here treat strangers like their family. And you know that. So when people leave Louisiana, they leave with a warm and fuzzy feeling. They don't get anywhere else in the world. They tell their friends and family, and that's why it's a great job to have. Now, I didn't start out to run for office. I was working for my father in the offshore catering business, living offshore in living quarters that were not in the best condition. The air conditioning worked, mattresses were old and stinky. And one day, I'm crossing the Mississippi River Bridge, and I see them loading shipping containers on the ship. And I went back to the office, and I said, Dad, I want to borrow some money. I want to build living quarters out of shipping containers. He said, son, those containers have been around for 100 years. I think somebody a lot smarter would have already thought of that. So like any smart son, I went to my mother. And I had $7,900 left in my college fund. And I said, Mom, I need that money. And I said, I want to start a business. She said, your dad's going to kill me. I said, well, you don't know, it won't hurt him. I need that money. Well, I took that $7,900, took a 20-foot shipping container, put 6 bunks, a little bath in the kitchen, and I rented to a company to paint a rig in South Texas. And while it was offshore, I went around to all the oil companies. And Joe Kramer, who's Vice President of Shell today, needed 4 buildings for 6 months. And I told the little white lie. I said, Mr. Kramer, I have these great buildings, but I have none available. They're all offshore. You can give me a year contract, I can build you brand new buildings, and if you don't like them, you don't have to pay for them. So we'll come back and see me tomorrow. Went back the next day, got the contract for a year, went to the bank, borrowed the money, and when I sold that company, I had over 1,000 modular quarters in the Gulf of Mexico and 20 modular prisons around the country out of old shipping containers. Today, they use those things for everything. Now, through the course of building that business, I had sold my house and moved into a shipping container. And one of my welders one day asked me to go with him because he said, you're working too hard, you need to take a break. And I volunteered for a therapeutic riding facility in La Place. And I lifted a little girl out of the wheelchair in the back of a horse, and I saw how life changed. I went back the next week on my own and lifted the same little girl out of the wheelchair. And as we started to walk, it began to rain and they canceled class. And that little girl never stopped crying, and she didn't want to get off that horse. That day I made a promise. If I could ever afford it, I would build a facility which they would never cancel because of rain. When I sold the company, I built an arena in Plaquemines Parish. And with Katrina approaching, we had over 200 children and adults with disabilities riding horses 7 days a week at no cost to them and their family. It is truly the greatest thing I have ever done with my life, helping those children and adults. I watched miracles happen on horseback and had the great honor of going to a young lady's wedding that at 7 years old told she'd never walk again, and watched her dance at a wedding. Giving back and that facility changed my life about helping others, and truly have so many great memories. Now, me and my wife rode out Katrina 14 miles from the eye. Not a very smart thing to do. But we had 26 specially trained horses and nowhere to bring them. So we brought them over to the house, which was on a mountain of mud overlooking the Mississippi River. And after the storm, we headed south in an airboat and rescued 34 people that lived with us for months that I didn't know all their names. But I never saw a politician. And after clearing the highway, rescuing animals for months, none of the local elected officials came back to the parish. They all went to Baton Rouge, got apartments, and had it not been for the great volunteers, first responders, doing all they could to help the parish, we were kind of on autopilot. So I got angry enough to run for parish president, and then ran for re-election, and then the BP oil spill. And once again, I felt like our citizens, our elected officials, many should have been standing up for our coast that wasn't doing all they could, and I felt like the federal government was not assisting us. And I was on TV every night asking why are they trying to stop us from rescuing animals and helping people. And that prompted me to decide to run for lieutenant governor. My first time I ran, I wasn't successful. Nobody likes to be a quitter, so I ran again and was successful the second time. But my plan was never to run for public office. It was, I was retired from business with the Rodney Center, enjoying the good life in South Plaquemines Parish, but the situation presented itself, and I believe today, that we need elected officials that truly care about other people and care about making a difference. Not just because they can get elected. We've got too many people that do only what they have to do to get reelected, no more, no less. If you love helping other people, elected officials is a great opportunity to make a difference, both in politics, in your community, and in our office, we never tell anyone no. If you call there with a problem, we find a way to help you. And it's a great, if you enjoy helping other people, there's no greater gift. Now let's talk about something fun, tourism industry. Under my agency, I'm over the state parks, the libraries, Volunteer Louisiana, the museums, the Seafood Marketing Board, and all over the state, these things work together to bring tourists and move Louisianans around the state. Now, everywhere I go, people say, well, I never see you promote Louisiana. What are you doing? You're already here. I don't need to get you here. So I thought this morning I'd start off with 3 quick commercials that show you how we promote Louisiana. We don't have the budget other states have, so we have to use social media to target certain audiences, drive them to our webpage, and hopefully book a trip to Louisiana. So enjoy these 3 short commercials. You can do this stuff anywhere, but it's just a little bit different here in Louisiana. But maybe it's not working. There it is. Never came up with this thing.
This is a ticket stub. You normally toss it out, but not today. Today, you're in Louisiana. Today, you took a face-flattening, high-octane airboat through the marsh and ended up back in the time of the dinosaurs. Today, you savored seafood that hadn't crossed state lines. Today, you danced till your soul felt good and your soul stayed. That ticket stub, you tuck it away as a reminder, because today, you're in Louisiana.
This is a shrimp hobo. It could just be a sandwich, but today, you're in Louisiana. Today, you got up with the sun to enjoy the best bass fishing on earth. Today, you walk historic halls where ghosts might pay a visit, but spirits are always present. Today, you wandered into a hole-in-the-wall cafe and fed your soul with a frosty local brew and this shrimp hobo. Anywhere else, it's just a sandwich. But today, you're in Louisiana.
This is a hat. You can get one anywhere, but today you're in Louisiana. You forgot your favorite one at home, of course, so you got this one and some change. You gave some of that change to the band who left you 2 left feet to dance, and a few dollars to a man who typed up a poem just for you. You save the rest for a dozen fresh oysters in a Sazerac. One to feed your face, the other to feed your soul. The hat, it's your new favorite, because today you're in Louisiana.
So we use those across social media to drop people to our website to get them to come to Louisiana. Now, I want to give you an idea of where tourism has come in Louisiana. When we started the tourism industry, it was actually started by Michelin Tire. They did the first tourism guide in Louisiana, in America. In 1957, they put a guide on their counter, and when you were in there buying new tires, you flip through it and hopefully drive more and use more tires. Now, to give you an idea, from 1957 through today, it is the #3 industry in Louisiana, not counting government. Incredible economic engine, 51.3 million people came to Louisiana last year, and they left behind 1.9 billion in taxes that our families didn't have to pay. That's a little over $1,000 per family in Louisiana. It employs over 235,000 people and is an economic engine that continues to grow. This year, we will top 100,000 hotel rooms in Louisiana. And the good news is those hotel rooms are not just being built in New Orleans. We're seeing hotel rooms go up all over Louisiana, and a lot of the things that are driving those numbers are because of Louisianans that are doing things here in Louisiana. Now, we knew that the film industry had an influence on tourism. We wanted to know what those numbers were. Natchitoches, Steel Magnolia, people still come here, put this town on the map. NCIS New Orleans, the first Tarzan movie was filmed in Morgan City over 100 years ago. We knew all those movies have an impact on tourism, but we didn't know the number. So we did a study to see what was the impact. It showed that 9% of everyone that comes to Louisiana is heavily influenced by a TV show or movie. That's a little over $1.3 billion economic impact to the movie industry. So we wanted to make sure we highlight the cities and towns when they're filming those movies to draw tourists that watch those movies to those areas. And it's an area that continues to grow in Louisiana. We've unrolled the Lights, Camera, Louisiana tour, where we're going to highlight all the places around Louisiana where movies were shot and where people were shot, like Bonnie and Clyde right here in Louisiana. So it gives us an opportunity to highlight all those great places. Now, every year, we pick a king or queen of seafood. And just last week in Lafayette, we crowned another seafood king. And that winner will travel the country with us, promoting Louisiana seafood, which, by the way, is the best in the world. And that king will represent us against 14 other states at the restaurant show in August to hopefully bring back the crown, which we won last year for the first time in 7 years, to Louisiana. This board gives us an opportunity to highlight our great chefs and our great seafood all over the world, and it is the best in the world. Now, every year we try to have a little fun with our crawfish season. So we take one lucky crawfish out the Atchafalaya Basin, we bring it to Lafayette, and we pardon it, and we let it go in the state park. Now, last year I was elected president of the Lieutenant Governors Association, and we all got invited to the White House. And when the president and vice president walked out, I walked up to the vice president, and I said, Mr. Vice President, I know y'all are getting ready to celebrate Thanksgiving, and y'all pardon the turkeys. Billy, let me tell you, it's a big deal. One lucky turkey, it parades around the grounds. It actually spends the night at the White House, and it gets to live its life out. I said, yeah, Mr. Vice President, I know the story, but let me tell you something. Back in Louisiana, first Tuesday after Mardi Gras, we take one lucky crawfish out the Atchafalaya Basin. We bring it to Lafayette, we pardon it, and we let it go in the state park while the rest of his family gets boiled alive. He looked at me, he said, son, what the hell are you talking about? So it didn't quite go over as well with the vice president, but we have a lot of fun with that. We give it a name each year. Year before last, it was Emil after Emil Zadaran, who came up with the crawfish boil a little over 100 years ago. And we look for things like that to highlight our seafood and promote it around the world. Now, this is my favorite thing, and I'm going to ask you, like I ask everyone, to take one vacation and ask your parents to take one vacation where they normally would leave Louisiana and go see a part of Louisiana you haven't seen. I promise you won't be disappointed. Now, the last group, last year I spoke to a group of high school seniors, and I had taken questions asked them. A little bit on the front row. First question, so Lieutenant Governor, where are you going on your staycation? Man, she caught me. I hadn't thought about it. So I had to think quick. I said, Toledo, Bend, and Natchitoches. It was okay. So I went home that night and told my wife, look, the week before Christmas, we're not doing anything. Why don't we go to Toledo, Bend, and Natchitoches? She said, why there? I said, I couldn't think of anything else. Well, we caught a lot of fish in Toledo, Bend, and then we came here to Natchitoches. And if you haven't been to that hardware store, they got every game from when I was a kid there. Well, my mother-in-law spent 3 hours in there and went home and posted on social media. And since we made that trip, 20 of our relatives and friends from Houston have come to Natchitoches to go to that hardware store. So I am a great example of if you go to a part of Louisiana you haven't seen, you're going to eat somewhere that's going to be great food, you're going to meet some incredible people, and you're going to share it on social media, and you're going to help me promote Louisiana and all those places that will never have the budget to promote all those great places all over Louisiana. We started that staycation about 2 years ago, and we're seeing 10, 20% increase in towns that never thought tourists were going to come there. So help us out by doing a staycation. Now, some of the great ambassadors that we've been fortunate to have here in Louisiana, we signed up Lauren Daigle a couple of years ago, and she's become a great Christian singer. Matter of fact, we're going to sponsor her on her first international trip this year, and she shows a video about Louisiana. She goes on social media talking about swimming with the alligators and all the great things to do in Louisiana, and it's been a great ambassador. This year we sponsored the rugby team. That's right, we have a rugby team. They almost made it to the playoffs, but it's real big overseas, and they wear that brand, Louisiana, Feed Your Soul, on their jerseys. And then our world champion, Derek, does a great job representing us. Every time he holds up a bass, you see Louisiana, Feed Your Soul. And we don't tell anyone when those bass are not caught in Louisiana. We just post those pictures, let them think they were caught here. But we're always looking for great ambassadors here in Louisiana to promote us around the country and around the world. And we never run out of people here, because we do. I tell people there's something in the soil here that grows so much talent, because it seems year after year, whether it's sports, music, we have some of the greatest talent here in Louisiana for the size state we are. Now, you can help me by signing up to be an ambassador for Louisiana. You get a little sticker in the mail, and if you keep posting, you'll get a hat, t-shirt, and as long as you keep posting, we'll share those stories, videos, places you go. Maybe it's a great fishing spot. Now, for Mardi Gras, we got some videos we could use, so don't send us any of those. But it helps us tell a story that only you can tell better than I can about those great places to go, those things to do, and then we share those with the world, and it's working. I'll give you one example. A lady posted this, sent it to us. That's a ghost on the porch and in the window. I don't know if it's real either. But since we posted this, 4,000 people have gone to the river to look for that ghost. So if you got a ghost, you post it and they will come. But really, the ambassador program has really helped us. I found some new things in Louisiana I didn't know about from people posting it to us, and then we share them with the world. Now, we set out last year to rebrand Louisiana. And in the past, a few people kicked around ideas, what should be our brand? Well, we wanted to make sure we let the data drive how we brand Louisiana. So we looked around the country and we said, who did it right? Michigan. Pure Michigan put that state on the map. So we hired that guy. And he went around the country and into Canada, and he did focus groups. What does Louisiana mean to you? Mardi Gras, food, fun. And they threw all these things up on the wall, and it all came down to Louisiana, feed your soul. So we went with it. Now, we knew we didn't have the budget Michigan did to do TV commercials all over the world. So we had to come up with some creative ways to promote it and get the word out. So the great tourism partners around the state gave up their Mardi Gras. We wrapped a food truck, and we went to all these cities, and we fed people's soul. And we got about $3 million in free publicity through social media. Now, I wasn't too smart. I picked Washington, D.C., and it was 10 degrees that day. So it wasn't a very smart movement. But it gave us an opportunity to really roll out our new brand and tell people, look, today it's Tuesday here in Washington, but back in Louisiana, it's Mardi Gras. So we're really excited about our new brand. It really sells Louisiana, and I'm proud this year to say, out of 18 international awards for brand, Louisiana was one of those 18 to bring home an award from New York months ago for our new brand. And I'm going to share with you a short video of how we feed our soul here in Louisiana, and then I think we're supposed to take questions. So enjoy the video.
Mention Louisiana, and images of Mardi Gras, jazz clubs, and late-night revelry are most likely the first things that come to mind. But there is far more to Louisiana than the Crescent City. And likewise, New Orleans is much more than the French Quarter and Fat Tuesday. Louisiana is a land of contrasts. Its different regions vary in physical appearance, from gentle rolling hills and lakes in the north to bayou swamps and the Gulf of Mexico in the south. Perhaps there is no better example of contrast than Louisiana's culture. Here, the American South meets French heritage. The result? A genteel Southern pace enveloped by a zest for life. And it's that pursuit of enjoyment that threads throughout Louisiana. Dancing to Zydeco in a local music hall, spicy boiled crawfish and the dare of how high, casting a reel and hooking a fat bass, flying through a sea of grass on an airboat, the uneasy and mysterious thrill of touring a haunted antebellum home at night, the sound of jazz, blues, and soul drifting from back alleys and open doors. And yes, the craziest party in America, perhaps even the world. Louisiana isn't for spectators. It's for participants. For those that want to feed their soul and not only live the moment, but to become the moment. Here, excitement is a constant pursuit and one that's easily found. Louisiana, feed your soul.
Thank y'all very much.
We're now going to have a Q&A session. We're going to microphone on both side aisles, so if you have a question for the Lieutenant Governor, you can stand up, exit your row, and make your way to the PC at the front of the aisle.
Be nice.
We're going to start on PC clear side, or we're just going to alternate from side to side.
I'm Peyton Piper from Belchase. Throughout our week at Boys State, a lot of us have voiced that we enter public service in politics. What advice would you give us as we go into our senior year, as if we aspire to enter politics in the future?
Well, I think a good start is here. You're going to learn a lot of things here about working together, about leadership. And, you know, it's not an easy route. You know, as you know, the media is very critical. Everything you do is in the spotlight. But at the end of the day, if like I said earlier, if you enjoy helping others and making a difference, politics is a good way to do that. And if you stay true to yourself and always do the right thing, no matter the critics, my dad used to say, as long as you know you're doing the right thing, you can do no wrong. And it's a very rewarding career. So stay involved in social helping organizations, groups like this, and I think it's a great path. I think it's a very self-rewarding to be able to help other people, and just stay true to yourself.
I like to say, first of all, thank you for everything you do. And as a bilingual student, I'd like to know what's being done for the development of the French culture in Louisiana, and what is the future of French?
Yeah, the French culture is so important. We've expanded the Codeville program, and then also I had a chance over in France to visit with all of our students or our teachers that actually go to France and teach for 2 years and live with a French family, and then they come home and teach, give us at least 2 years back teaching and bringing some of that back home. Incredible program. These kids are learning so much about the different cultures. And our French immersion program, where kids are speaking French in school, we keep expanding the number of schools. I think we added 4 in the last year or 2, and we keep encouraging schools. It's a proven fact. If you have a second language, you're automatically, number one, you do better in school, and secondly, it opens the world to your opportunities for employment. At least the second language, you have an opportunity. Everything is international now. So it's very important. That immersion program is under my office, and we're also using it to promote the French music, which is really taking off as well. So it's a great program. If you get a chance to do that exchange, I can tell you every one of the kids that are over there is having the time of their life and learning so much and opening up their eyes to the world.
Mr. Lieutenant Governor, Jack Hayberg from Blue Ridge, Louisiana. Our question is, the NBA draft was earlier this week. This may sound unrelated, but with Zion Williamson's effect going to be on the state of Louisiana?
Well, I think you see the effect. I happened to be downtown when they had the little pep rally, and they had to block off the street. Thousands of people showed up. I think it's with the problems with the last star leaving, it's a shot in the arm. God works in funny ways. To have a 6% chance of getting the #1 draft, it's exactly what the Pelicans needed, and I think it's going to be great not only for the team but for the city and the state, and really make a difference in the enthusiasm for that franchise. And I think it gives them absolutely. They're looking at the playoffs for next year, so I think it's exactly what the team needed at a time when kind of the air was out of the tires, and I'm excited about the future for them.
Hi, I'm Seth Prinker, and I respect you and your colleagues, not because you get everything right, but because you are under so much stress. You are put in the limelight of our state, and y'all's decisions affect millions of people. I want to know how you and your colleagues deal with the stress whenever something goes wrong, because everyone makes mistakes.
You're absolutely right. You pray a lot. The toughest thing in politics is your family has to deal with it as well. And no matter what you do, there's going to be criticism. And today, it's so easy to punch a button and be critical when you don't have to do it face to face on the telephone. And you deal with that. Listen, I try to surround myself with positive thinking people. We make decisions based on what we believe is the best thing to do. And if you can go to bed at night with that, you know, we're looking next year, and we tried to get three of the scratch-offs for veterans, seniors, and special needs children. I don't buy scratch-offs. It was going to make education better. It didn't. The money for education was moved, and they filled up lottery money, so nobody walks in and buys. So I thought if we could dedicate 3 scratch-offs to a greater cause, it would help those groups, and the money could not be taken from anything else. And we got a lot of criticism that we were going to hurt education, and it was just misinformation that caused that bill not to make it out of committee last year. But we knew we had right on our side. And that's just one example of when you know you're doing something for the right reasons, just keep after it and do the right thing. But it does get tough sometimes because the paper and the news don't always get it right. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Matthew Gonzalo from Metairie. I have 2 quick questions, and it's okay if you give 2 quick answers. But do you believe that principle and politics can ever go hand in hand? And how do you attract efficient government employees?
Well, first, I do believe, you got to believe it can. And I look at everything like a business. We've cut spending millions and reorganized state parks. We actually have 2 state parks making money for the first time ever, never before happened. And the people that work in my office absolutely do not do it for the money. They just have a love and passion to serve. And actually, we are doing a survey to compare our salaries to other jobs equivalent because they hadn't had a raise in over 10 years. And the ladies in the welcome centers on the interstate, they greet you with a smile. When I was campaigning and found out they made 8 something an hour, I gave them my word nobody would get a raise, so they did. And so we're doing that now because just because you work in government, you ought to get a fair pay. And it's hard for you to ask for it when you're working for the politicians that set the laws and give those. So we're doing analysis all the jobs right now to hopefully get those pays up where they ought to be. Because the people in government work extremely hard, late hours to serve the public, but it's a very rewarding job. Thank you. I know I said a short answer. I never get short answers. Sorry about that.
I'm wondering if I'm working in various projects, and I struggle a lot with figuring out what's best for the people and what's best for the state. So how do you figure out what to balance?
Well, you know, when I was elected parish president 1 year after Katrina, after I won, I woke up the next morning and I said, what am I going to do now? So I got a teacher, a pastor, about 10 businessmen and women together, and I gave them each parts of the budget. And I said, let's make sure we're doing the right thing with the people's money. And that gave me a great opportunity to go to the council of government with the waste and things. Wasn't my idea. It was a group of independent people that it was their tax dollars. And I've kind of used that as I've gone through and getting our people in different departments together and said, it's your money, what are we doing? But I think when you look at projects and things, it's easy to find things where there's waste or money that's not being spent properly. And if you get a small group of people that have a passion to do the right thing and get their opinions of what best to tackle and prioritize it, you can really make some incredible changes.
Hi, my name is Ben Blanchard. I'm from Pierre Park in Assumption Parish. And as a citizen of such a small town with little to no representation in Washington, how can I find a way to make a political impact?
Well, I think everyone, every town and every city, and every person can make an impact. You know, someone from your area has to be elected to the House or the Senate or to the council. So I think by getting involved and making a difference in your community, we've had some incredible leaders, both in Washington, come out of the smallest parishes and towns in Louisiana, because they started off helping their local community. And it is tough sometimes for the smaller communities around Louisiana to be noticed and to get their fair share. And we've been banding a bunch of those small communities together to look for like tourism infrastructure money, to where we're speaking with one voice by putting those smaller towns together and saying, you know, we need some money to fix roads and bridges in our towns too, even though it's not a great voter population. But I think surrounding yourself with people that want to make a difference, you can emerge as a leader from anywhere in the state. So good luck.
Lieutenant Governor, before you go, I would like to present you with our music, Mr. Helmet, the token of our gratitude for you taking time to do so.